Hello, I'm Juanita Stevenson. Welcome to 0 to 5 in 30 minutes. Here's a question for you. What type of burn do you think is most common among children 5 years old and younger? Burns caused by fireworks, a clothes iron, a heater. The #1 burn injury is scalding by hot liquids related to cooking. It can be very serious and it can happen very easily in any home. We want to warn you some of the pictures used in this piece are graphic and may be difficult to watch.
It happened in an instant. I just had my back turned for a moment, and I had no idea that she had walked into the kitchen. And the next thing I knew is I hear the crash of the steamer on the ground.
Gail's daughter Sarah was injured when she was 15 months old. Gail was cooking green beans in a steamer. She tells us she turned her back for a moment, and that's when Sarah walked into the kitchen, grabbed hold of the steamer's extension cord, and pulled on it.
Since she was so small, the water fell on top of her head. So she got most of the burns were on top of her head, some on her face, and down her neck, chest, and her arm. And the burns on her head, I believe, were the deepest. She suffered 2nd and 3rd degree burns over 7 to 10% of her body.
Burn injuries are one of the leading causes of hospitalization and death for children in the Central Valley. Scald burns are the most common burn injury among U.S. children age 4 and younger.
They're at the age that they like to learn about new things. That's normal for kids at that age. Whatever they cannot see, they like to find out. Whatever out of their sight, they like to pull it in towards them to see.
It has been 5 years since the accident, and Sarah has recovered well, but it wasn't an easy road. Gail explains it was an extremely distressing experience for the entire family.
It was very traumatic for all of us. It was very traumatic for our son as well to have to see that. And the aftermath of the police and the fire department and the ambulance coming and taking her away was pretty scary.
After the accident, Sarah spent 2 weeks in the hospital's burn unit, then had to go back for skin grafting.
And what they did was they took a section, a very thin top layer of her upper thigh. It looks like a rectangle, and they used that skin to graft onto parts of her chest, neck, and shoulder. And they took really well.
Just to cover the wound site, to protect from heat loss, water loss, and infection, of course, and temperature loss.
Recovery also meant wearing pressure garments.
And she wore this over her head. This is where her face came out, and her little ears, and a little spot for her ponytail. She also had one for her trunk also, and it helps. So when the skin is growing again, it helps to keep them flat and not raised.
These days, Gail says Sarah is comfortable sharing her experience with others.
She is very open about her scars, and if anyone ever asks her, she tells them, and she's not afraid to or embarrassed about it. So I think that burned at such a young age, she doesn't remember it. I think maybe it's just been something that she's had all of her life. It's just been a part of her.
Gail and Sarah hope that by sharing their story, they can raise awareness about burn injuries and help other families. Cooking-related burns are easily prevented. Here are a few simple tips to make your home safer. 1, establish a safe area for kids when you are cooking out of the traffic path between the stove and sink where children can play but are still supervised. 2, cook on back burners, turn pot handles to the back, and keep appliance cords away from the counter's edge. 3, never drink or carry hot liquids while holding a child. We have more tips and resources online. Just go to valleypbs.org and click on 0 to 5 in 30 minutes.
This program funded in part by First 5 Fresno County. At First 5, we focus on the first 5 years of life. We fund programs and services that better the lives of children in Fresno County.
Additional funding from First 5 Tulare County. Changing lives and building futures. Because it's all about the kids.